Chapter 12. Then the Lord sent Nathan to David, and he came to him and said to him,
There were 2 men in one city, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb which he had bought and nourished, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It ate of his own food, and drank from his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and it was like a daughter to him. And a traveller came to the rich man, who refused to take from his own flock and from his own herd to prepare one for the wayfaring man who had come to him. But he took the poor man's lamb, and prepared it for the man who had come to him.
So David's anger was greatly aroused against the man, and he said to Nathan,
As the Lord lives, the man who has done this shall surely die, and he shall restore 4-fold for the lamb, because he did this thing and because he had no pity.
Then Nathan said to David,
You are the man, thus says the Lord God of Israel. I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hand of Saul. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your keeping, and gave you the house of Israel and Judah. And if that had been too little, I also would have given you much more. Why have you despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? You have killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword. You have taken his wife to be your wife, and have killed him with the sword of the people of Ammon. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me, and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Thus says the Lord, Behold, I will raise up adversity against you from your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes, and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of this sun, for you did it secretly. But I will do this thing before all Israel, before the sun.
So David said to Nathan,
I have sinned against the Lord.
And Nathan said to David,
The Lord also has put away your sin. You shall not die. However, because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also who is born to you shall surely die.
Then Nathan departed to his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became ill. David therefore pleaded with God for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night on the ground. So the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the ground. But he would not, nor did he eat food with them. Then on the 7th day it came to pass that the child died, and the servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead. For they said,
Indeed, while the child was alive, we spoke to him, and he would not heed our voice. How can we tell him that the child is dead? He may do some harm.
When David saw that his servants were whispering, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said to his servants,
Is the child dead?
And they said,
He is dead.
So David arose from the ground, washed and anointed himself, and changed his clothes. And he went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he went to his own house, and when he requested, they set food before him, and he ate. Then his servants said to him,
What is this that you have done? You fasted and wept for the child while he was alive. But when the child died, you arose and ate food.
And he said,
While the child was alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, Who can tell whether the Lord will be gracious to me that the child may live? But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me.
Then David comforted Bathsheba his wife, and went in to her, and lay with her. So she bore a son, and he called his name Solomon. Now the Lord loved him, and he sent word by the hand of Nathan the prophet. So he called his name Jedediah, because of the Lord. Now Joab fought against Rabbah of the people of Ammon, and took the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David, and said,
I have fought against Rabbah, and I have taken the city's water supply. Now, therefore, gather the rest of the people together, and encamp against the city, and take it, lest I take the city, and it be called after my name.
So David gathered all the people together, and went to Rabbah, fought against it, and took it. Then he took their king's crown from his head. Its weight was a talent of gold, with precious stones, and it was set on David's head. Also he brought out the spoil of the city in great abundance. And he brought out the people who were in it, and put them to work with saws and iron picks and iron axes, and made them cross over to the brick works. So he did to all the cities of the people of Ammon. Then David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. Chapter 13. After this, Absalom, the son of David, had a lovely sister, whose name was Tamar, and Amnon, the son of David, loved her. Amnon was so distressed over his sister Tamar that he became sick, for she was a virgin, and it was improper for Amnon to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother. Now Jonadab was a very crafty man, and he said to him,
"Why are you, the king's son, becoming thinner day after day? Will you not tell me?"
Amnon said to him,
"I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister."
So Jonadab said to him,
"Lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, 'Please let my sister Tamar come and give me food, and prepare the food in my sight, that I may see it and eat it from her hand.'"
Then Amnon lay down and pretended to be ill. And when the king came to see him, Amnon said to the king,
"Please let Tamar, my sister, come and make a couple of cakes for me in my sight, that I may eat from her hand."
And David sent home to Tamar, saying,
"Now go to your brother Amnon's house and prepare food for him."
So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was lying down. Then she took flour and kneaded it, made cakes in his sight, and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and placed them out before him, but he refused to eat. Then Amnon said,
"Have everyone go out from me."
And they all went out from him. Then Amnon said to Tamar,
"Bring the food into the bedroom, that I may eat from your hand."
And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them to Amnon her brother in the bedroom. Now when she had brought them to him to eat, he took hold of her and said to her,
"Come, lie with me, my sister."
But she answered,
"No, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing should be done in Israel. Do not do this disgraceful thing. And where could I take my shame? And as for you, you would be like one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you."
However, he would not heed her voice, and being stronger than she, he forced her and lay with her. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her,
"Arise, be gone."
So she said to him,
"No, indeed. This evil of sending me away is worse than the other that you did to me."
But he would not listen to her. Then he called his servant who attended him and said,
"Here, put this woman out. Away from me, and bolt the door behind her."
Now she had on a robe of many colors, for the king's virgin daughters wore such apparel. And his servant put her out and bolted the door behind her. Then Tamar put ashes on her head and tore her robe of many colors that was on her, and lay her hand on her head and went away crying bitterly. Then Absalom her brother said to her,
"Has Amnon your brother been with you? But now hold your peace, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this thing to heart."
So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. But when King David heard of all these things, he was very angry. And Absalom spoke to his brother Amnon neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon, because he had forced his sister Tamar. And it came to pass, after 2 full years, that Absalom had sheep-shearers in Baal-hazor, which is near Ephraim. So Absalom invited all the king's sons. Then Absalom came to the king and said,
"Kindly note, your servant has sheep-shearers. Please, let the king and his servants go with your servant."
But the king said to Absalom,
"No, my son, let us not all go now, lest we be a burden to you."
Then he urged him, but he would not go, and he blessed him. Then Absalom said,
"If not, please let my brother Amnon go with us."
Then the king said to him,
"Why should he go with you?"
But Absalom urged him, so he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying,
"Watch now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine. And when I say to you, 'Strike Amnon,' then kill him. Do not be afraid. Have I not commanded you? Be courageous and valiant."
So the servants of Absalom did to Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and each one got on his mule and fled. And it came to pass, while they were on the way, that news came to David, saying,
"Absalom has killed all the king's sons, and not one of them is left."
So the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the ground, and all his servants stood by with their clothes torn. Then Jonadab the son of Shimeah, David's brother, answered and said,
Let not my lord suppose they have killed all the young men, the king's sons, for only Amnon is dead. For by the command of Absalom, this has been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. Now, therefore, let not my lord the king take the thing to his heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead, for only Amnon is dead.
Then Absalom fled. And the young man who was keeping watch lifted his eyes and looked, and there many people were coming from the road on the hillside behind him. And Jonadab said to the king,
Look, the king's sons are coming. As your servant said, so it is.
So it was, as soon as he had finished speaking, that the king's sons indeed came, and they lifted up their voice and wept. Also the king and all his servants wept very bitterly. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. And David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur, and was there 3 years. And King David longed to go to Absalom, for he had been comforted concerning Amnon, because he was dead. Chapter 14. So Joab the son of Zeruiah perceived that the king's heart was concerned about Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa, and brought from there a wise woman, and said to her,
Please pretend to be a mourner, and put on mourning apparel. Do not anoint yourself with oil, but act like a woman who has been mourning a long time for the dead. Go to the king and speak to him in this manner.
So Joab put the words in her mouth. And when the woman of Tekoa spoke to the king, she fell on her face to the ground, and prostrated herself, and said,
Help, O king!
Then the king said to her,
What troubles you?
And she answered,
Indeed, I am a widow. My husband is dead. Now your maidservant had 2 sons, and the 2 fought with each other in the field, and there was no one to part them, but the one struck the other and killed him. And now the whole family has risen up against your maidservant, and they said, Deliver him who struck his brother, that we may execute him for the life of his brother whom he killed, and we will destroy the heir also. So they would extinguish my ember that is left, and leave to my husband neither name nor remnant on the earth.
Then the king said to the woman,
Go to your house, and I will give orders concerning you.
And the woman of Tekoa said to the king,
My lord, O king, let the iniquity be on me, and on my father's house, and the king and his throne be guiltless.
So the king said,
Whoever says anything to you, bring him to me, and he shall not touch you any more.
Then she said,
Please let the king remember the Lord your God, and do not permit the avenger of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son.
And he said,
As the Lord lives, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground.
Therefore the woman said,
Please let your maidservant speak another word to my lord the king.
And he said,
Say on.
So the woman said,
Why then have you schemed such a thing against the people of God? For the king speaks this thing as one who is guilty, and that the king does not bring his banished one home again. For we will surely die, and become like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. Yet God does not take away a life, but he devises means, so that his banished ones are not expelled from him. Now, therefore, I have come to speak of this thing to my lord the king, because the people have made me afraid. And your maidservant said, I will now speak to the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his maidservant. From the hand of the man who would destroy me and my son together from the inheritance of God. Your maidservant said, The word of my lord the king will now be comforting. For as the angel of God, so is my lord the king in discerning good and evil. And may the Lord your God be with you.
Then the king answered and said to the woman,
Please do not hide from me anything that I ask you.
And the woman said,
Please let my lord the king speak.
So the king said,
Is the hand of Joab with you in all this?
And the woman answered and said,
As you live, my lord the king, no one can turn to the right hand or to the left from anything that my lord the king has spoken. For your servant Joab commanded me, And he put all these words in the mouth of your maidservant, to bring about this change of affairs. Your servant Joab has done this thing. But my lord is wise, according to the wisdom of the angel of God, to know everything that is in the earth.
And the king said to Joab,
All right, I have granted this thing. Go, therefore, bring back the young man Absalom.
Then Joab fell to the ground on his face, and bowed himself, and thanked the king. And Joab said,
Today your servant knows that I have found favor in your sight, my lord, O king, in that the king has fulfilled the request of his servant.
So Joab arose and went to Geshur, and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said,
Let him return to his own house, but do not let him see my face.
So Absalom returned to his own house, but did not see the king's face. Now in all Israel there was no one who was praised as much as Absalom for his good looks. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head there was no blemish in him. And when he cut the hair of his head, at the end of every year he cut it, because it was heavy on him. When he cut it, he weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels, according to the king's standard. To Absalom were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of beautiful appearance. And Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem, but did not see the king's face. Therefore Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. So he said to his servants,
See, Joab's field is near mine, and he has barley there. Go and set it on fire.
And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom's house, and said to him,
Why have your servants set my field on fire?
And Absalom answered Joab,
Look, I sent to you, saying, Come here, so that I may send you to the king, to say, Why have I come from Geshur? It would be better for me to be there still. Now, therefore, let me see the king's face, and if there is iniquity in me, let him execute me.
So Joab went to the king and told him. And when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. Then the king kissed Absalom. Psalm 76. To the chief musician, on stringed instruments, a psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah God is known, his name is great in Israel. In Salem also is his tabernacle, and his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the arrows of the bow, the shield and sword of battle. Selah. You are more glorious and excellent than the mountains of prey. The stout-hearted were plundered, they have sunk into their sleep, and none of the mighty men have found the use of their hands. At your rebuke, O God of Jacob, both the chariot and horse were cast into a dead sleep. You yourself are to be feared, and who may stand in your presence when once you are angry? You caused judgment to be heard from heaven. The earth feared, and was still, when God arose to judgment, to deliver all the oppressed of the earth. Selah. Surely the wrath of man shall praise you, with the remainder of wrath you shall gird yourself. Make vows to the Lord your God, and pay them. Let all who are around him bring presents to him who ought to be feared. He shall cut off the spirit of princes. He is awesome to the kings of the earth. Chapter 11. Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil, and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore the sisters sent to him, saying,
Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick.
When Jesus heard that, he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Then after this he said to the disciples, Let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him,
Rabbi, lately the Jews sought to stone you, and are you going there again?
Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if one walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him. These things he said, and after that he said to them, Our friend Lazarus sleeps, but I go that I may wake him up. Then his disciples said,
Lord, if he sleeps, he will get well.
However, Jesus spoke of his death. but they thought that he was speaking about taking rest in sleep. Then Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him. Then Thomas, who is called the twin, said to his fellow disciples,
Let us also go, that we may die with him.
So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus,
Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you.
Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him,
I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day.
Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him,
Yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world.
And when she had said these things, she went her way, and secretly called Mary her sister, saying,
The teacher has come, and is calling for you.
As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying,
She is going to the tomb to weep there.
Then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him,
Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died.
Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, Where have you laid him? They said to him,
Lord, come and see.
Jesus wept. Then the Jews said,
See how he loved him.
And some of them said,
Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying?
Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him,
Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days.
Jesus said to her, Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I know that you always hear me. But because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me. Now when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth! And he who had died came out bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, Loose him and let him go. Then many of the Jews who had come to Mary and had seen the things Jesus did believed in him. But some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them the things Jesus did. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered a council and said,
What shall we do? For this man works many signs.
If we let him alone like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and nation.
And one of them, Caiaphas, being high priest that year, said to them,
You know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish.
Now this he did not say on his own authority, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation, and not for that nation only, but also that he would gather together in one the children of God who were scattered abroad. Then from that day on they plotted to put him to death. Therefore Jesus no longer walked openly among the Jews, but went from there into the country near the wilderness to a city called Ephraim, and there remained with his disciples. And the Passover of the Jews was near, and many went from the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then they sought Jesus, and spoke among themselves as they stood in the temple,
What do you think? That he will not come to the feast?
Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given a command that if anyone knew where he was, he should report it, that they might seize him.